It's amazing when you think about it. The amount of damage, the amount of misinformation, the amount of lies that emanate from one person. Jermaine Diamond K in here, of course, RadioFire.com, the Diamond K Show.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. So Twitter, of course, we know, permanently suspended Donald Trump's account. And quite frankly, it was a relief. It came as a relief. We're going to have a longer conversation sooner or later about what it means that a giant corporation can effectively silence the president of the United States if it chooses. The fact that Twitter shut down his account, Donald Trump's account, after 4 years of him using the platform to really do severe damage. And let me say this, Twitter was in trouble before the Trump administration. As a company, they were in trouble. They were not in the position that they once were. And Trump helped get that company back to a point of relevance. And I think that is part of the reason why they were hesitant to silence him. Hesitant to really rein in what he said on their platform. But the recent events at the Capitol, of course, tied their hands. And in an attempt to circumvent, to not face the responsibility that they played in what happened, the responsibility that they play in allowing misinformation to run rampant. This is all of the social networks. There's a balance. So a week after the Trump ban, misinformation dropping 73%. The amount of lies and misinformation stemming from this one individual is mind-blowing. Now, this does not mean that all presidents in the future are going to use Twitter or social networks, but this one did. This one did. Let's understand, 5 people died at the U.S. Capitol due to the president's encouragement of insurrectionists. He pushed this violence, and he used social network and social media to do so. Banning Trump was the result that had to happen inevitably. Inevitably. So, it was seriously dangerous, the things that Trump said, the crazy stuff. Not just birtherism, not just his everyday musings and foolishness, but in real life, dangerous. So some people say, oh, it's his first, it's not your First Amendment right to get on Twitter. It's so ironic that many of the people talking about Trump's being silenced and it's his First Amendment rights being taken away, those were the same people that were saying that cake makers and bakers didn't have to make cakes for same-sex couples because it was their business and it wasn't the government. But when the shoe is on another foot, then they're confused. Then all of a sudden, no, Twitter has to do it. Twitter doesn't have to do that. Twitter does not have to do that. The stuff that Donald Trump was saying on Twitter and in real life was dangerous. So Twitter finally came to the conclusion after years of protest They didn't even want some of those people didn't even want his tweets labeled as misinformation. So Twitter took a long road to get here. The company did not ban Trump because they didn't like his politics. There are a lot of people with the wrong politics on the Twitter platform. And they haven't been banned, and they won't be banned. It's not just this politics. That's not why. Politics alone? No. It's not about that. The action came because Twitter, almost certainly with the blessing of its founder Jack Dorsey, decided that Trump was still a threat to incite violence between now and Inauguration Day, which is just a few days away. And they're right. They didn't want to be liable for the bodies that could come if Trump can just say anything. You can disagree with the assessment. You can argue with it. I agree with it, and it should have happened sooner. And I don't think that this lets Twitter off the hook completely. So, what was it that really got them to this point? One of Trump's tweets last week was a statement that he would not be attending Joe Biden's inauguration. The other promising to be a giant voice for his voters going forward. Trump already inspired one ugly, terrible day in Washington, D.C. In part by using social media to get this message out there. So no one wanted the chance, no one wanted to take the chance of a repeat thing. Nobody wanted that. In the final days of this Trump presidency, this American nightmare, we have seen those companies reconsider, at least in public reconsider. I don't know what they're saying behind the scenes, how they approach their responsibilities to the public. Facebook earlier suspended Trump until at least the inauguration. Has toyed with its algorithm to tamp down on misinformation. Google banned Parler, the right-wing version of Twitter, from Google Play Store because of the threats of election-related violence. Apple threatened to do the same on the App Store. YouTube booted Steve Bannon for posting videos claiming the election was stolen. It is difficult to argue with any of these individual decisions. Very difficult. But at the same time, we shouldn't get too comfortable with them either. There are other sites where Trump can be and will post his mess. There are other places where he can go. The president's followers won't stop getting misinformation. They'll just get the misinformation somewhere else. But as of right now, week after the ban, misinformation has dropped. Because the president was pushing misinformation out there, and then his supporters were spreading it around. And that's how it really got out there. But let's not forget the fact that 5 people died because of Trump's lies. American democracy took a body shot, like a bow. Took a bow. Boom. In the gut. Wasn't pretty. But it had to happen. The permanent suspension of Trump from Twitter. So, online misinformation about election fraud plunged 73% after several social media sites booted Trump and key allies. Let's not forget about that. So, that's new research by San Francisco-based analytics firms report that conversations about election fraud also dropped from 2.5 million mentions to 688,000 mentions across several social media sites the week after Trump was banned from Twitter. Signal Labs research firm has found this, and initially Raw Story posted this, as others. So I'm happy that we've gotten a handle on some of the online things, but long story short, who is responsible? Whose job is it? That is a question that we are going to have to answer in the weeks, months, and years to come. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Don McKay Show, at Radio on Fire. So I said this. We are dropping shows 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. daily. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network streaming from our production facilities in Atlanta and Baltimore. We're able to broadcast programs like The Don McKay Show because of our listeners and amazing partners. Partners like DLifestyleSecrets.com. Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? Well, more than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as you age, the goal is to experience as few aches and pains as possible while staying mobile. DLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that by providing a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching members to communicate naturally with their bodies. DLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos, natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit DLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers. And of course, I encourage you to shop with all of the companies that support RadioOnFire.com. Before we get back to the show, in the Black community, we always talk about building generational wealth. So how do you do it? How do you build generational wealth? For starters, it is essential to do business with their community. The Black Mompreneur Directory connects you to Black mom-owned businesses in more than 23 categories, including consulting, health, beauty, food, and home decor, among many. If you're looking to buy a product or hire someone for a service, visit blackmombiz.com. Search the national listings to find a Black mompreneur online or near you today. That's blackmombiz.com. Again, blackmombiz.com. Tell them Radio on Fire sent you.